Hello everyone, in this video I will show you how to get the author medal, champion medal and maybe even world record on the Summer 2023-01. In this guide, we'll go through the in-depth analysis of the current world record on the track, so we'll go over every single detail does he do to achieve such a time, and kind of will give you a bit of an explanation on why he does specific things in a specific way, so you have a better understanding of Trackmania's mechanics, and you not only improve yourself on this map, but improve yourself as a player overall, and also have a better understanding of how Trackmania car behaves and everything like that. Alright, so let's begin. So the very first track, or the thing with white maps in the first place, is always that they are very simple. The main things that need to happen throughout the map are very specific inputs or details you need to focus on. It will basically determine what will be the outcome. Usually on white maps, it's either one or two tricks, and it's just reducing travel distance altogether. However, in this 01, as you see, there's water on the map, and there's a lot of interesting things, and also there's a helicopter in the end. Anyway, we're gonna look at the current world records at the time of recording this, which is by Elite, who is a Swedish player, very kind of has been always up there, a hunter on most straightforward campaign tracks. Usually is very hunting on the white maps, but has popped up recently on some harder maps as well. Sadly does not do anything competitive, but at least shows that he has a decent pace. Before we start, I'm gonna give a small explanation of things right here. So these are gonna be the inputs being showed. However, well, I have to contradict myself. These are not inputs. This is what the car thinks when a thing is being pressed. So it does show in an input form, but for example, the sideways movements are not inputs precisely, but is a wheel position. So, but it still gives a good insight on how much you need to steer or what you need to press on a specific part of the map. Sometimes when there's a backwards part, well, at least on campaign, it's not the case. It also shows a bit buggy and it's a bit confused and everything like that, but it still gives a very good idea of what the inputs are on specific parts of the map. Second thing is that there's two speedometers. So in Trackmania, there's not only forwards acceleration, but there's sideways acceleration as well. It's gonna play a small role on this map, but it's not gonna be that big of a deal. And the other thing is gears. Gears is not just an audio thing, but it generally impacts on how cars behave in specific speeds, so we're gonna have to keep in mind that. However, on this map, it's not gonna play that big of a role. Anyway, let's begin. Since unusually on shorter maps, you always want to reduce the travel distance. So always at the start, he tries to get as a close line as possible to get from this corner right here. Usually people, to have some setup points, they look at this part up here and try to align their wheels so it makes sense, so they have some visual cue, some visual representation of where they need to go. So that's why he keeps it straight. As there's an incline, he tries to slowly steer to the inside. So he's a bit outside and then goes to the inside. There's gonna be, in Trackmania, as in basically any other racing game, there's still the outside line principle follows quite often, especially on places where there is no drifting or just a basic accelerate and steer kind of principle is followed. So the same thing is here. One of the early parts where you start to, let's just say, some skill difference is gonna be shown is this part right here. So he already steers, there's a bit of an incline right here, and he already immediately steers as early as possible while keeping all four wheels with full grip. Thankfully, in Trackmania cars cases, is that you just need, realistically, just one wheel sticking to the ground, and it should be enough. So maybe in theory, if it's possible to improve the world record, it could be possible to cut this a tiny bit shorter, but you see his first wheel bumps up. However, since the way how this turn has constructed, he's like very close on hitting almost the apex right here. So this is gonna be one of the biggest time servers right here, is just to reduce the travel distance right here. So this is the main thing you really want to get if you're aiming for an author time. It's just to get this first turn as close to the inside as possible and get this part as close to the inside as possible, just so you reduce the travel distance. However, since we're looking at the champion medal or maybe even world record, he's gonna do a bit different while maintaining the inside line right here. So he's gonna land in a specific way, so there's a bit of a gap between the wheels. So this is a part where he starts to initiate an auto slide. Auto slide that transfers into a speed slide. So speed sliding is basically keeping skid marks in a specific width from a specific speed, and it basically gives additional grip that accelerates the car at specific speeds. This trick is mainly used on full speed style maps, but it also applies here since the car matches just barely reaches enough speed, so this property can be active. Usually in speed slides, we're gonna look at this speed right here mainly. it becomes efficient starting from 410 speed, so he is a bit losing his momentum right here, and he gently starts to gain around here. I think ideally, maybe for world record, maybe you could improve that you get around this time, you keep full grip, and then you press enable of S4D, very small brake tap. But to basically simplify this turn, he jumps in an auto slides, keeps the skid marks in 40% width, because it's very easy to understand. If you want 400 speed, you want 40% overlap, 500 speed 50%, 60%, 60% overlap, etc. It's very simple to have an idea what's the speed slide width you want to aim for. Anyway, he keeps the skid mark width with his approach, and this is the part where it's going to be the most confusing part. Since there is a water patch, he's going to do a bit of like wiggles right here. And this is one of the main parts where the sideways acceleration starts to happen. So most people, when they see like these world records or some water, when the car just like floats over water and see these wiggles, it kind of makes no sense. Why on earth would that be faster? But there is the sideways acceleration property. So what happens is that since, for example, road right here has 100% full grip, so the car doesn't really slide around unless there was a bump or a skid mark width. So that's why, for example, car has 100% grip on this part. There's actually a bit not. So maybe if you see, there's all the time it's a wheel, one that's sideways, so that's when the car steers kind of thing. But here, since he came to the skid marks, the sideways acceleration has increased. Now, as he's gonna go on water, it's gonna increase even more. The thing on water is that since obviously it's not a fully grip surface, it will decelerate your car over time. However, you can amplify the small incline when there's going to be a small speed bump, so that's why he wiggles to the one side with 40% steering or Action key 2 on keyboard, and then immediately to the other side to enable another bump while the speed has not fully, let's just say, drained in the small patch of water, and that will gently give a bit more forwards momentum after this specific part. So it's generally that's why it's faster. If there was a longer patch of let's just say water, then it would be tiny bit slower, but with the specific length of water, it's gently giving a bit more speed boost outside of it. After entering a specific surface and transitioning to another, there's a small property being kept from the previous surface. So either from dirt to road or from grass to road, yada yada. But from either ice to roads or from water to road, there's the strongest one. So there is a small decline where let's just say the wheels do dry up, but it's very, very slow, the drying up process. So instead, most people who will probably do a full steer right here, and they might slide out around here. So either you need to tap sideways or do a partial steer as he does here. If you want to simplify the process on keyboard, you can just press Action key 4 or 80% steering. You'll always get this turn at full grip. However, since we're looking at the champion medal or world record times, it's going to be a bit different. So at the very, very top times, since there's a very sharp incline change, so he goes a bit deeper when it goes a bit sharper, and it can enable an auto slide based off it basically makes it so the car breaks out of the full grip from the partial steering right here, and this small incline or this rapid incline change makes a slide happen. But for top times, you want to make it sure that you jump into a speed slide position where you're gently gonna get a bit more speed. However, this is quite needed if you want to get champion medal or higher. If you just want to get auto time, you don't need to worry about this, or if you're at low ranks at matchmaking. However, at high ranks, or if you're aiming for a top time, then you definitely need to do this. To basically summarize here, after water physics, since you have this weird water property, you oversteer it to jump to water tires, but keeping skid marks in a specific way, so you get a small speed slide going on. Since we had a 460 speed, you want to have approximately 46% overlap right here while going up the uphill. Then he does cancel back, so he gets a bit more grip, so he aims for. Since on water wheels, on grip surface or a fully road surface, are way more slippy, let's just say slippier. He actually wants to cancel back, so he gets full grip, so he gets a better setup right here. He even gets a bit too much speed, so this is one of the main mistakes that the world record does have. So he gets a bit of an oversteer right here, so he doesn't get the speed boost right there, but he does maintain himself from this part. Very similar case here is happens what's happening here. So since the car slides over the water fully, so you can see always there's at least a wheel touching this part. However, here there's a bit of a bounce happening. That's a bit scared me. I was aware that there will be the horn, but yeah. Anyway, basically he jumps here, since there's going to be a full bounce like this. So he uses the sideways property, but this is with a low steering percentage. Either it's suction key 1 with 20% steering, it's the best I would suggest. You just quickly snap it from one side to another. Or he keeps it to one side as well. So this both works. So either keep it to the one side while keeping a bit of an angle, or like a 20% angle from 90% steering. So basically imagine you have a sideways clock and 20% from that. It will give the best setup to give the most amount of speed out of it. You can also do a sideways wiggle right here. So if you press, like, say, jump straight and you quickly tap left right at the bounce, it will also give a decent speed boost outside of it. So to summarize, have an inside line fully here. Go a bit, tiny bit to the left so you have a better exit from here. Start steering a bit early on so you get the full grip on best inside line. Right here, land a bit sideways so you enter a speed slide position. Make sure that the speed is actually over 410 so you gently gain speed and not lose it. Because a lot of people, they think, oh, they're speed sliding, but in reality they're just losing time. Also the skid marks need to be efficient as well. Here a top quick, if we look at very quickly. So a quick tap to the right, left, and right again. This is just to increase the speed from the water transition. Smooth steer right here. Harsher steer from the inside line, so it forces the auto slide. Keeping the skid marks correct. He actually does a cancel if you're right here. He cancels out the steering movements quickly, like it zaps to the other side, so he gets the full grip to line this part properly up. Either you jump straight or do a quick wiggle similar as he did at the start. See, small suck to the side. Or you can do fully sideways, so it's 20% from the 90%. And hold action key 20%, so it gets the best and most efficient bounce. And that should be how you do a top time. Usually this should be, if you do everything like this properly, it should result in around 22 seconds of a time. But this map is very hard to get a decent time. It's a very simple map to just play through, but always the case with the white maps is that they're very hard to optimize efficiently. So you always have to get these small perfect tricks aligned. But since the map is so short, it's very easy to rank up a lot of the attempts. And one of the main reasons why usually the white maps are so, I'll just say, saturated at the top. But if you do this properly, this should result in at least the champion medal time, which is usually around like top 100 or so. Anyway, that's going to be it from this video. Hope you learned something from this and hope it will help you improve your times. If you have been struggling of getting author times, maybe this could have helped out. Maybe give a better explanation on specific things. Also, maybe give a better insight regarding the Trackmania mechanics. Anyway, if you have any other questions, make sure to ask in the comments below. That is going to be it for me today. Thank you all for watching and see you later. Bye-bye.